welcome to the Komodo CMS version 7 introductory webinar. Hope you're all well this morning and looking forward to the weekend. You can also go to the Komotion website. There was a link on the details pages, and there should have been a link in the emails that you all received. That's a hell of a URL, I know, but like I said, there should have been a link in your emails there. And you can add a comment in here. As you can see, I'm logged in as Stephen to Facebook, so you can add comments here and follow us on Twitter if you want to see what's going on at Komotion. All right. That being sorted, let's start out the presentation. I believe we have most of the people who we were expecting at this stage. So, welcome to the Komodo CMS introduction webinar. As I said, what we'll be covering today are the new features that you've seen in your content management system over the last week appearing. So that will be the new social sign-in feature. That's the login screen changes that you've all noticed. The changes to the publishing workflow, including information portal publishing and publish notifications to social platforms. The new social content items available to be inserted into pages. The YouTube content item, which is a pretty cool little item I know a few of you are very interested in. The new polls module and content item. That's a premium level only one, but I will cover off on it. The mobile site functionality. You might have noticed a new little addition to your sitemap thus far. All right. That's the extent of the new features we'll cover in this first rollout. But remember that there is a second phase of features coming in March, which we will cover. This to you is our brand new demonstration site with most of the features that most of you will be used to seeing in your websites. I already told you that, you silly site. And yeah, there we go. And all of the new features that are available. I've got no mentions from people saying they can't hear me, so we'll push right on. Okay. This is a collection, a fictional clothing retail website. We figured that everybody wears clothes, and they need to have events, they need to have a calendar, they need to have images and galleries and a product module. They also need to share things on social media a fair bit these days. So we figured it was a pretty good example site to give you all. Okay. One of the first things that you will all have noticed are the changes to the Komodo CMS login page. Everybody's login page looks like this now, and it's one of the more exciting advances. It probably won't change your life too much, apart from the fact that you can just sign in with a single click now rather than remembering your username and password. There we go, one click, and I'm in editing Komodo CMS. I'm logged in as the administrator. Now, how did it know that? Well, here I am logged in as the Komotion developer to Facebook. What we'd done is we'd previously associated the login here with the Facebook account. So, how does that actually work in practice? We'll notice I'm also logged into Twitter as Komotion developer, and I'm not yet signed in to LinkedIn, but I can sign in as Komotion developer. So, the way you set this up the first time you go in with any one of these platforms is you simply click the button that you wish, the button of the social platform that you wish to use. Okay, as I'm already logged in over here at Twitter, my browser recognizes that. It sent a query to Twitter, an encrypted query, and it's come back saying, aha, well, you're already logged in. As Komotion developer, click here if that's not you. And it will automatically ask you then which account you need to associate with that login. So I'm just going to associate the administrator one. It's not going to let you just do that with anyone, of course. You need to know the username and password to hook up a social media account with a CMS login. So there we go. Now we're logged in as administrator. If I log out, I hope you all like our new user-friendly little message here as well. And now, whenever I come back to the site and I want to log in, it's associated with both Facebook and Twitter. So a single click now will see me logging in without any further steps or hassles. All right. Now I'm not signed into LinkedIn. So what happens when I click the LinkedIn button this time? My browser doesn't know what my LinkedIn profile is. So it takes me to LinkedIn and it asks for permissions. Komodo CMS would like to view your profile and your email address. Commotion isn't taking any of this information from any of your profiles for marketing purposes, by the way. We're keeping your privacy intact. We're just accessing it so that we can grab things like your email address and name. It's a standard set of permissions that we need to grab in order to access any of these platforms using an API. So I log in. And say, allow it access. And then exactly the same thing happens before. I've allowed it access, so it says, you'll link to the Commotion Dev LinkedIn account. Tell me which Komodo CMS user that's got to be linked to. I rattle in my password and I never have to do it again. Now, a lot of you are thinking, but hang on, I don't want to use my Facebook account or my Twitter account, my personal ones, to be associated with my Komodo CMS thing. That's breaking down the separation of church and state between work and my personal life. That's all right. I know a lot of you use Google Docs to share documents and administrative tasks. We certainly do that here at Commotion. All of our email addresses are run through Google sign-ins, and a lot of our shared process documents are on Google, so we all have one single source of truth. Or, of course, LinkedIn is another very good option. That being your professional profile, your professional life, you can use that to hook up. Now, if you don't want to use any one of those social platforms, you could always use OpenID. Not a lot of you, well, some of you might not know what OpenID is. OpenID is already associated with Google accounts and Blogger and Yahoo and all sorts of things. MySpace even, if some of you are still on that. Yes, I know it's making a bit of a resurgence. But if you want to, you can just open up a My OpenID account of your own. And if you want to do that, you can then create your own My OpenID account and associate that with your Komodo CMS login. That'll allow you to use OpenID to get in all of those other platforms that they were mentioning before. So that'll actually give you access to all these kind of accounts. It's basically a consolidated login service that operates for free on the internet. All right. I, however, don't want to do that. I want to just sign in to start using Komodo CMS. So there we are. It's a neat little feature that I hope you'll all enjoy. By the way, please excuse me if you hear a little frog in my throat occasionally. I am just getting over a cold, as is always the case when you have to run a webinar like this. All right. Now, I know another thing that's made a bit of a splash with some of you people is information portal publishing. So let's just go and have a look. I've set up a test page on this site full of some of my typical content. Any of you who've done a training session with me before now will recognize these pangrams. Let's start editing. Obviously this text needs to be broken up. I'm just going to jump in and put a few different spaces in here. Obviously, that's going to update a page. So now I have some changes on this page that are waiting to be published. If we jump over to News and Events and I jump into the News page, there's an information portal here. Let's add a new information portal. We'll just do something nice and quick. Okay, I don't think we need a description on this one. We'll set it to the current date and time. And that will do as the page, the home page. Okay, so I now have a new information portal item that's waiting to be published as well. When this page reloads, might have to tell it to, you can see my new little information portal item there. That's because we're in edit mode. Edit or preview, there it is. It's not yet showing up in live, and nor are my changes on my test page, obviously. Now when we go to publish and choose upload site changes, you'll notice that there are now two sections to the publishing report. Up here are the pages that have been changed, Stephen's test page, and down here are the information portal entries. The way information portals used to work is that whenever you published a page that had an information portal entry on it, pardon me, my apologies, anytime you published a page that had an information portal entry on it, that information portal had to be updated everywhere around the site that the information portal existed, which could have meant 12 pages or 100 pages around the site, simply because you wanted to upload a single page. Also, if you wanted to upload a change to an information portal that didn't, that was on a page which didn't have any changes on it, a page that had changes that you didn't want to go live, then there was no way to update that information portal only and not update the page and its content. So what we've done is we've separated them out. I know that's confused a lot of you, and if you have more than one person making changes, here administrator is the only person who's done that, but as an example, I'm logged in here as Stephen, and I could go to the news information portal and very quickly add a new item here. Select different image. I think that one's small enough. Yeah. Okay. So in a different browser, I'm logged in there. If I close this one now and go publish, upload site changes, aha. You'll see Stephen Brewer has a change here. He's given us a new information portal entry. An administrator has given us some changes on a page and some changes to an information portal entry. So some of you may, with multiple users in your site, have already noticed that you are making some changes to information portals, or people are making changes to information portals, and when you go to upload them, upload all the site changes, they're not all going up. This is why. If we want them all to go up, we just have to tick there and click Upload Changes. Okay. Now, moving on to the next feature. It's visible on the screen right now. This is called social publishing. You can promote new site content by publishing update to a linked Facebook page or Twitter account, which obviously just means you have to edit in one place. Simply update your site, and then your Facebook account and your Twitter account will automatically post that you've got some updates. So let's have a look at that. Send to Facebook and Twitter. All right. At the moment, it's got a linked page, the Stevens test page. That's because that's where the change was made. Now, I made changes on 2 pages, so I don't just want to update that one. I don't just want to tell people about this. I probably want to tell people about the whole site. And you can put a message in here if you want to. I better actually type demonstration website there, because technically it is our demonstration site. Okay, post the update. Now, I believe, yes, the user hadn't authorized the application to perform this action. So that's to do with, which platform is it? Let me just find out. All right. We'll go to Settings, Site. So before you can do this, before you can make any of these things work, you have to go into your site settings. You'll notice there are a lot of new things here. The most important ones for you are the Twitter authentication, which is set up. It's linked to the Commotion Dev account. I can unauthenticate it if I want. And Facebook authentication. So that's the one that you just saw was not yet authenticated. Now, I'm logged in with an account that is linked to my Facebook account. If we go here to Twitter, I can see that the Commotion Dev has posted check out the latest changes to the demonstration website. If I go to the Facebook update and look at Commotion Dev, it has not updated the same page. That's because in here it's not set up for Facebook. Now, I know you're thinking, oh, is this going to be tricky, the process of authenticating and setting up my account's link. It's really not that hard. You literally click the button, and because I'm logged in and associated with Commotion Dev, it's authenticated it for me. It's as simple as that. Tiny little step, but you do need to do that for both Twitter and Facebook before, when you publish site changes, you'll be able to push them to the website. So there is a method to my madness. Okay. You are, of course, limited to an update of less than 118 characters when you update to either of those, even though there's no limit on Facebook, there's one on Twitter. All right. Now, time to start playing with some of the new social aggregation items. We're here on my test page, so that's as good a page as any. Let's start editing. Okay. I'll start adding these ones at the top of the page. Edit, add new item above, because I'm going to be putting in a bunch of new social media items. You've probably all noticed the new items popping up in here. Social media, YouTube, polls if you're a premium Komodo CMS user. That's what we're going through now. We'll start with social media. Social media, if you, as an account, already have access to Form Builder, you'll notice that this works in the same way. You click on the Form Builder items and you get a second series of menus. Click on the social media, you get a second series of menus. Pardon me. If you're a professional license, what you'll be seeing is the Facebook Like, Share This, and Add This buttons. If you're a premium user, you'll also have Facebook Comments, the Follow button, Tweet Feed, and Pinterest Pin buttons. The Facebook like is obviously probably the first one that most of you will want to use. It's an object just like anything else in Komodo CMS. Generally you want to carriage returns, URL to like. You can make the button you're about to put on the page like a different page on your website if you like. I'm going to align this to the right so we can see it over here. I'm only going to make it about 200 pixels wide because I think 450 is a bit wide. And you can choose various different layouts. These are all come as standard from Facebook, a light or a dark color scheme, that kind of thing. And you can change the font even to something that's appropriate to your site. All right, let's have a look at what it looks like. And there we go. It's a like button. One person already likes this page. Be the first of your friends. I might like it as well. I can add a comment. There we go. Me and one other like this. I get the feeling it might have been Stephen Brewer who liked this page before. Okay. We'll quickly belt you through some of the different changes. Layout styles, button count, changes the way it's laid out, in it pops. There you go. It's just got a counter button for how many likes it's got. That's a little more subtle. And box count is another layout as well. You can change the text to recommend. You can show faces. I'm not going to change the color scheme to dark because that makes the words be white and you can't see them on the collection website. So depending on your color scheme of your site, you're going to have to just find which settings work for your particular layout and design. As I said, these all come as standard from Facebook, so there's really not much we can do to change that. And maybe the faces don't show up in the button count view. I think they only show up in the standard. So that's a bit of fun. And you can now pop that into your pages. There you go. There's the commotion face. Maybe Stephen Brewer hasn't allowed his face to be shown on the website. That was an oversight if I did that. I'm going to quickly add in a table here just for layout purposes. I know tables aren't great for layouts. Sorry, Mark. One of our lead front-end designers is sitting here beside me, helping me run this session. I'll just do one row and I'll call it 4 columns. I'll align it to the right. That should do me. And cut that content. It's reloading the page. There we go. I'll paste that content back in there. And I might quickly tell it not to show the faces because that's blowing the layout horribly. All right. The next thing I want to show you is, of course, the other 2 items that the professional people have in social media. Share This. Share This is a service that several of you might have in your site. We've already got it up here in our demonstration site. Basically, this allows you to show various social media tools in a little row here. I might want people to be able to email themselves this page. as well as sharing it on Facebook and maybe, let's see, LinkedIn. Quickly change this to preview so you can see what it's actually looking like. So what it does, obviously my spacing needs to be worked out a little bit more, but it gives you a few little tools like that so people can automatically email this page to their friends if they find a product they want to recommend or an article they particularly like. And Facebook, of course, connects you to Facebook and starts you sharing something on your own timeline about that page. Okay, I'm going to quickly go back to edit mode. The last service that I'm going to show you adding here, and I'll change these to large social service icons. They'll be a little bit bigger. I might go back to preview just to make it look nicer while we're working here. The last one you might want to add is the actual share this icon. There we go, we can see them much more clearly. I didn't click add for the LinkedIn one, did I? That's why it's not showing up. Silly boy. Okay. As that page refreshes, you can see we've now got that funny little green icon that you'll have recognized from the Share This one. Share This is a service that can use a whole bunch of different social services. Dig, Reddit, Fasciolista, wow, Fresky, Fun, you name it, they've got it. Okay? So that allows people the ability to use any social media tool that they like on your site. I'm sure you can follow your nose around the rest of this tool. So we'll quickly close that one down. And in the next column, I'm going to edit, add new item, down to social media, and choose add this. This is going to look strikingly familiar because add this is a very, very similar service to share this. Once again, you can change the icons to be whatever you like. And what am I going to choose from add this? I'm going to choose Google+. I'm going to choose, I haven't used Twitter yet. Let's chuck on LinkedIn. And of course, the Add This tool, which will allow you access to the whole suite of Add This items. I was a bit too quick for the system there. Lovely. So there's my LinkedIn, my Google+, my Twitter. And here are the 320 more Add This services that you can use. Amazon, AOL, Bang, Bebo, Bloggy. Oh my goodness, there are just so many of these things. So there you go. You need never miss. Oh my goodness, did I see LiveJournal there? Wow. I didn't think anybody else was still on LiveJournal. I am. All right. So there you go. Pretty much as many social sharing tools as you could possibly need on any web page within your site. I'll quickly, very, very quickly, belt through some of the other functionality. In the social media area. This is for premium customers only. Facebook comments. Actually, the easiest way for me to show you that is over here. Because I'm logged in as Stephen Brewer, I can make a comment on this page here. I hope some of you are popping some in. Anything that you want us to deal with. We'll take about 10 minutes worth of questions at the end of this session. Now I know what some of you are asking. You're asking, A, will this page ever reload? There we go. Just didn't grab for some reason. There you go. Welcome, please post any comments. Mark is feeling very neglected. I'm going to quickly sign out here and log in as that guy. And when I do that, if I refresh this page, you can now see that I'm logged in as the Commotion developer. So if you're logged into your site as the person who is the administrator of that site, you'll notice that you get a moderator view. Oh, unfortunately, there are no comments waiting for moderation. Oh, if only I'd made one myself. That allows you to hide comments that people have made if you really don't like them or if they're offensive in some way. There are also some settings you can change, and for some reason the site has been disassociated from the Facebook ID login. That's a little annoying. All right, I'll go back to my demonstration website. That's what it's there for after all. Add this in here. And when the page reloads, should see the same kind of thing pop up here. Excellent. This page is unreachable. Of course it is, because this is a staging site which is hiding behind a realm password, which is part of the reason I wanted to demonstrate that on our own website. Anyway, we'll remove that item and move on. The premium customers amongst you can talk to your account managers about that item and get a bit more of a breakdown on it. Let's add a new item. There's a follow button and a tweet button and a tweet feed button. That'll allow people to quickly follow your Twitter account, quickly tweet about the page that they're looking at, and a tweet feed will display all of your Twitter messages from your account on a page. Google Plus will allow people to quickly recommend you on, make a comment about the page on Google Plus, and Pinterest will allow people to pop up a pin of your page. Now, in order to make this one work, I'll show you this one because it's a little bit different. You do have to choose an image that will go up and maybe give it a bit of a, let me see, and give it a bit of a blurb. That's only a small one, but that'll have to do. It doesn't look like much when it turns up. But it does allow people to nice and quickly pin your page. So there we go. Allows people to quickly spread the word about you, your products, through an image-based forum. Okay, moving right along. How are we going for time? 10 minutes. That'll be just fine. All right, one of the more exciting items that I know a lot of you will start using is the YouTube content item. This YouTube item allows you to quickly and easily insert YouTube videos into your website. Let's give it a go. It's down here at the bottom, YouTube video. The only thing you'll see when you first open this one is a search field. Why is that, you say? That's because all you need to do is search. This content item is actually connected to YouTube, to its database and via an API, and it will literally search YouTube for you and find anything that matches. As simple as that. It doesn't have to be an item that's on your YouTube channel, although I would recommend checking the copyright on any video and the owner of the video's happiness to let you play their video on your site before you go and post anybody else's stuff. And then once you've selected the video, you get a fairly standard Komodo CMS editing tool. You can set one of various set widths. 853 looks like about the right one for me. Or a custom width if you want to. You can automatically play the video or loop the video. Let's do both of them. Give it a couple of carriage returns as usual. And when this page reloads, we should start to see a lovely big video of Horace Dediu talking to us about digital strategy. He's a very interesting speaker, but I will let you all go to our YouTube channel and check that out yourselves. Which you can find by searching for Commotion Digital. There we are there. And there's Horace there, along with a whole bunch of other content that we've put up about us, about some of the campaigns we've done and all that kind of thing. Don't worry, I'm not going to spruik us any more than that. What I am going to do is I'm going to go to this one and show you that what you might want to do when you're here. I'll delete that item. I'll add a new one. And once it's loaded up, I'm trying to tell the site to do too many different things at once, as well as downloading YouTube videos at the same time, which isn't going to help me. The easiest way to find a specific video is to search by its URL. That works as well. So if you already have a YouTube channel, then you can start popping your content. And I'm not going to automatically play this one, but I will display the title. You can start putting your audiovisual content up on the internet for all of your site visitors to see. All right, the last two things that we need to talk about very quickly are the polls module. This is another premium users only, premium licenses only thing, so I'm going to quickly just touch on it rather than dwell on it extensively. But basically, you can make polls for your customers to have a look at. It works a lot like Form Builder, for those of you who are familiar with that. You need to create the poll first. You can't just go and add a poll. Actually, what I'll do is I'll delete that one, so we don't have any. And demonstrate to you. As we don't have any polls, if I go to add one to this page, it's not going to be able to find any, basically. So the first thing it's going to ask me is, which poll do you want? And it's only got the default new poll listed there, which isn't any use to us. I didn't delete it, that's why. All right. Let's add our new one. We'll create the question and the answers. So I've got poll name, question, answer 1, answer 2, and I can add new options. So that gives me, of course, question, answer 1, answer 2, and answer 3. Let's just make it something nice and simple. You can delete and change those answers, of course. You'll notice you've got a style. I'm going to change the style of that text to that one. And then, let's see. Body text is fine for these ones. It would default to body text anyway. But let's save those details. The observer amongst you will have noticed this post to Facebook. Once you've run a poll on your site and you want to get the, or rather if you want to run the poll on both your site and on Facebook, you can click that button and it is hooked into the Facebook API, your site now, so it can of course just add the poll up in both locations. Let's quickly add the item here, shall we? Poll, and we'll choose, you know what I didn't do? I didn't name it. Dear oh dear. Let's hope I've chosen the right poll. The reason you have to create the poll first is because all of these, there we go, all of these answers that people submit are going to be saved into a database that you can access later. There we go. Total of 1 vote. A lot of these items that we've been showing you are unstyled. The Twitter feed, polls, they're just generic. You can choose some basic styling options like the fonts and basic color options, but if you do need any of these items styled specifically for your site, then you're going to have to have one of our designers have a look at your site and trick that up for you. But that's really quite doable. Last of all, your sites are all now mobile enabled. You might have noticed when you go to your website that you've got a new page there, mobile home. But if you go to look at the mobile home page, you'll have seen that it's just blank. There's an empty white page where you could add some content items. If we go back to the sitemap, you should notice that you can also add pages underneath if you want to. What I've done is I've created earlier this catalogs mobile page. There's still nothing on it, but it's there in my sitemap. So if I wanted to, I could quickly add in some content here, and probably a good thing to do would be add in a table of a width of, say, 320 pixels wide. 320 pixels wide. You can set right here. And then, once again, that's a table for layout, which Mark is swatting me on the wrist and saying, that's bad, Stephen, don't do it that way. But you could add in content items here. And the site would be set to, just got to wait for the page to load. There we go, 302 pixel wide. Table, so that's going to keep my page here exactly 320 pixels wide, which is the correct width to show up on a mobile website when it's in portrait mode. And then I could add in, obviously, I could add in a primary title there. So now I've got a mobile home page and I've got a catalogs page, which catalogs page is set up. It's actually got some content on it. What does this mean for you? If you go to your sitemap and you go to open the page properties for catalogs, what you ought to notice now is that all pages have this field here, mobile page equivalent. There we go. And you can choose which page you want. Obviously, I've already done that. So I could choose mobile home or catalogs mobile. So there we go. What that means, once I've saved my changes, is that if somebody comes to my collection website on a mobile phone and they come to the catalogs page, they'll be automatically, the site automatically sniffs out what browser people are using, if they're using a mobile phone browser, and redirects them to the appropriate page. Any comments on our page? And I know I've had at least one chat question in here. Okay, I believe Suzette asked earlier, does the login appear in the Facebook/Twitter feeds? I'm not entirely sure what you mean about that, Suzette. So maybe you'll have to call me back later on in the day, or talk to your account manager and we can arrange a bit more of a detailed session. Suzette's also asked, does the CMS have the ability to handle multiple Facebook accounts? That was a question we were also asked last session, and the developers are looking into the idea of if you have multiple sections within your site, for example, a New South Wales section, a Victoria section, and a Queensland section, you get the idea. Sections show up in your sitemap as little houses. Then, yes, it should be set up so that you can allocate one Facebook account to each section. We've only got one section in this site, so I can't demonstrate that here. All right, very quickly, did anybody else have any further questions? I'll let you have a moment or two to quickly type something in. But failing that, I hope you've enjoyed the session. My apologies for my slightly croaky voice at points. And I hope you've had a very good tour of the new features of Komodo CMS version 7. Remember, there is version 7.1 coming out in March. What that's going to involve is caching for your site, which will improve the speed and reliability of your site. It'll also lower the bandwidth that your site uses, as well as some further integration with Facebook and other social media platforms. And last of all, some nice little tools for you editors. Things like justified text, drag and drop within the sitemap, which I know a lot of you will be doing cartwheels about, and drag and drop within the file library. So once again, those things should make using Komodo CMS a lot easier for those of you who have to log into it every day. All right, I've received no further questions. So it's just on 11 o'clock. I'll call the session off there, and I hope you all have a very good rest of the day and weekend. Thank you for attending.